Welcome everybody to the Evident Proof demo. Apologies for the delay in starting today. Some meetings overran, so we are starting around 57 minutes late. Sorry for everyone who's not been able to make it. If as a result anyone would like a separate demo at a more convenient time, please contact me on Telegram, and I will be able to facilitate that. I'm coming from a public location today, so apologies for some of the background noise. So the purpose of these demos is just to give you a brief overview of the platform, to talk you through what Evident is, and show you quickly how the platform stores data and how we prove the integrity of that data. We keep these demos to 10 minutes or less. That does mean that that there may be questions that people have, or we haven't done a particularly deep dive into any one area. Again, if you have any questions or would like a separate demo on the platform at another time where we can go into particular areas in more detail, please do contact myself on Telegram, and we'll get that set up. So Evident Proof, as I'm sure most of you know, is a platform to store data in an immutable way. It is a new kind of database that allows the storage of data in a way where it can't be hacked, it can't be tampered with, and it can't be deleted. So it is, in essence, immutable. The way we achieve this is by using a public and a private blockchain to store proof seals, which are effectively hashes of data on a distributed, decentralized network, which keeps data stored immutably. So let's dive right in. So here's our dashboard for Evident Proof. You can see that we have proof seals, API keys, API calls, and support. Presented with this dashboard, how does one get started using Evident Proof? Well, provided you have sealed credits, which can be obtained as part of your account setup on Evident Proof, you can generate an API key. Let's go into that screen briefly. So API keys and secrets allow you to interact with the platform programmatically via a RESTful API. Once you have that API key, read the API documentation, understand how to talk to the Evident Proof platform, and talk to the team to understand what evidence is and what proof means to your particular organization or use case, and you can immediately start firing data at the Evident Proof platform and storing it immediately. So we have a real client that we also use to demo the platform. They are the largest supplier of taxi licensing solutions to the UK local government. So their software is the software that's used when issuing a taxi license. Why is this important to store this data immutably? Well, only around 3 months ago now, there was an article in The Guardian in the UK saying that 150,000 taxi licenses were issued in the UK last year to drivers with criminal convictions, drink driving bans, you name it, they had it. None of them should have had a license, but they did. And so at this point, it's important to be able to prove that the checks and balances were performed. And how did we get to this point where these 150,000 people were issued with taxi licenses when they should not have had those issued? So we can't present obviously our clients' large line of business solution, but we have isolated one workflow from it, which is the basic issuance of a taxi license, and we've trimmed it down so it can be used in the demo, and we've put it in a page such as this, and so we can use this to demonstrate how the platform works. So this taxi licensing line of business application is integrated into the RESTful APIs of the Evident solution. So when we create a taxi license on this page, it will be fired to the API and appear on this dashboard, and then we can follow that journey through of that data. And in the process, we can explain a little bit about how our data schemas work and how one proves the integrity of that data when required. So we're going to create a taxi license within this screen. A little bit slow because I'm on a public network. So we're going to say, I think it's something I haven't said before, so Paul Smith. Okay, so there's the license holder name, license active, tick, criminal record check performed. Okay, so this is a tick box, but of course, in a real application, and indeed in our client's application, they are storing many proof points against each of these points of data. So for a criminal record check, they would of course store the evidence of that check from the local police force or from some government agency. So that might be a document or evidence of an API call transaction, whatever it is that is stored against this record. Driving license number, so let's put in a UK format. Well, of course, again, in the real system, a driving license has to be evidence. What is that evidence? It is a scan of the driving license card, and it is some kind of check against the police national computer to say that that license is active. Again, documents, images, transactions, events can all be stored as proof points against one asset or thing within the evident proof platform. Identity check, again, this would be evidence. All the checks and balances would be stored within this record. And once we're happy with that, we create the license. And what's happening now is on the back end of this application, this data is being sent to the evident proof API. Again, apologies for the speed here. I am on a public network. Okay, so let's see the license here. So there it is, Paul Smith, 65. Great, that's everything we entered. Let's go through to evident, and now we're expecting this data to be there. So there he is, Paul Smith, ID 65, and we'll see that as Paul Smith. So let's go into the proof seal. What is a proof seal? A proof seal is simply a hash of the data that was sent to the platform, along with metadata describing the who, what, where, why, and when of that data. So let's talk through this record. So what is a dispatch? Dispatch is an API call to the evident proof service. Dispatch has an ID, it has a where. This can be geolocation, IP address. Here, you can see this is a representation of my local IP address because I'm running this demo locally. When there's a timestamp generated by our system on receiving the API call. PSU cross-reference. Here you can see that this is number 65. Well, 65 was the ID of our driving license, so one might think that this is just a simple one-to-one ID, but actually this ID can be anything that you may choose as a client. It can be a compound key linking back to a range of records, or it can be a single key, really anything. And we consult with organizations as part of the setup process to work out what are these IDs, what do they mean to your organization. So key, or we have something not in new license. Value, you can see a JSON representation of the data we entered. This could be a single field. This could be blob data representing some driving license data, etc., which will all be in this JSON. This could be the works of Shakespeare. It really doesn't matter, because all it boils down to for us is this seal. The seal is the hash that is stored on the blockchain. It is this seal that incorporates all of this data, which effectively proves the immutability of our record and the timestamps and so on and so forth. So after this data is sent to the platform, it is stored on the Ethereum public blockchain and also our private blockchain. If anyone wants to hear more about why we have public and private blockchain and how that works, please reach out and we'll do a bit of a deep dive into it. But effectively, that's the way it works. And when you store data, you get back as part of the API response a receipt to say that data has been stored, and here is your reference, and you can access that receipt also on this user interface. we recommend you store the receipt somewhere in your infrastructure, ideally against the transactional record or the row in your database that this data relates to. Again, that's something we help with, we consult on, so that's not a process you need to work out by yourself. Okay, so great, we stored this data, it's been stored immutably. What do we do with it? So we're a year down the line, someone's saying, okay, you didn't do these checks and balances on this taxi license. We did, we know we did, but we need to provide that audit trail, and we need to be able to prove this, say, in a court of law. Let's imagine this is a litigation scenario. So at this stage, we need a proof certificate. We need to be able to prove the immutability and integrity of this data. So we call that evidence a proof certificate. So when we generate a proof certificate, effectively a check will be done on the public blockchain and on the private blockchain against the original transaction to check that this seal effectively matches that data, the timestamps match up, and so on and so forth. And we then provide evidence back that you can use in a court of law to show the immutability and the integrity of that data. Now, in terms of the data we can provide on that proof certificate, it is tailored to your organization. However, you'll see on this demo the base level of data that we provide. So let's generate a new proof certificate. You can see that my proof certificate was generated. And we have a approved certificate request. We have a date that it was sent, and we have a number of tokens that we use. Tokenization is an incredibly important part of our platform and the way it works. We don't go into it in these demos because we only have 10 minutes. But anyone who would like to hear about the tokenization of the platform, then please do come and talk to us, and we will go through it with you. So let's go and have a look at the proof certificate that was generated. So effectively, this proof certificate is everything that was sent to the platform as part of the original transaction. There is the receipt ID, the request ID for the proof certificate, the request time, date, tokens, and on this base level proof certificate, we have a transaction ID which matches the transaction on the Ethereum blockchain to the original transaction that was used to store this data, and through that transaction ID, the integrity of the seal can be proved. Again, anyone wants to go into that particular workflow and any more detail or depth, it's fairly complex involved. We have a proprietary system of smart contracts, but we'd be happy to talk you through that. So I think that's my 10 minutes or just over. Apologies for the noise. As I said, public place at the moment, so it's a little bit noisy. And hope to see you on the next demo. So we run demos on Tuesdays at 10 AM London time, and Thursdays at 4 PM London time. So yeah, great. Thank you. Bye.